Good afternoon, everyone. I am Irene Marisi Arqueo from Group 1, Unit 2, Addressing Diversity Through the Years, Special and Inclusive Education. The topic that we will tackle for today is entitled Why Inclusion? First, let us know what is inclusion. What is inclusion or inclusive education? Inclusive education, or also called inclusion, is an education that includes everyone coming from different race, color, gender, sexual preference, language, disability, and with non-disabled people, learning together in mainstream school, colleges, and universities. This inclusive education values diversity and the unique contribution that each student could bring to the classroom. Why inclusive education important? Importance of inclusive education. Inclusive system provides better quality education to all children and as instrument in changing discriminating attitudes. As respect and understanding grows with students of diverse abilities and backgrounds, plays, socialize, and learn together. Through these inclusive classroom settings, the students will develop respect and understanding as they grow with students of diverse abilities and backgrounds. These students may develop the sense of belongingness as they generate acceptance and understanding towards the need of every student. Let's go to the inclusive classroom strategies. There is a definite need for teachers to be supported in implementing an inclusive classroom. First strategy is to know your students' IEPs or 504S. IEPs stands for Individualized Education Program or IEPS. It aims to create an equitable learning environment for everyone. It is important to familiarize your students by learning and understanding their specific needs, also by the help of the school counselor and teaching specialists. 504 is designed to ensure that every student with disabilities are allowed to learn in a regular classroom environment. The next strategy is the use of variety instructional formats. Starting with whole group instructions and transition of flexible learning, groupings, paired learning, and the like. As a pair, by the use of a paired supported learning can be very effective when we engage the students to pair works, cooperative groupings, pair tutoring, and students lead demonstration. Since every student has their own unique learning style, we can also use text, pictures, oral, and kinesthetic learning to support the needs of every student with disabilities. The next strategy is to develop a behavioral management plan. A behavioral management plan is very helpful to prepare you when students exhibit a disruptive behavior, like when students throw tantrums or impulsivity. So this behavioral management plan will help you. How would you approach these students with different challenges? As a teacher, you need to pay attention on their physical, intellectual, emotional, and social needs by establishing a positive learning environment. The next strategy is to apply universal design for learning. These are the methods that we could use to support the needs of every learners by using multiple ways of presenting the contents to them. Just like, for example, like modeling, images, objectives, and manipulatives, graphics, responses, and technology. As we know that some students has different, every student have their own learning style and approaches. The last strategy is to ensure the access to academic curricular content. All students has the opportunity to have needs the opportunity to learn to have a learning experiences in line with the same learning goals. This strategy aims that all students could participate in large group instructions, activities, whether it is in and out of the classroom. This is to help them to keep them on track with the lessons, as this strategy aims that no students will be left behind. Let's go to the advantages and disadvantages of inclusive education. Advantages for children with disabilities. It will improve the cognitive, motor, speech, and social and emotional development of children through communication with peers. So when students have interaction with other students, it will help them improve or develop their cognitive skills, motor, speech, social, and emotional aspect. It will also um, develop their functional mastery of skills and abilities. Focus on the strengths and abilities of the child in the learning process, participation in public life, and establishing friendly relations with other children. As for other children, it will the formation of a tolerant attitude and natural perception of people with different characteristics, establishing and maintaining friendly relations with people who are different from them, social cooperation with people who are different from them, formation of a non-standard approach and ingenuity to achieve a common result. As for teachers, better understanding of individual characteristics of students, mastering various pedagogical techniques for effective work taking into account individual, approaching children's perception for a better understanding of different situations, and formation of a holistic picture. The disadvantages of the inclusive education. First is the imperfection of legislation in the field of education, which leads to the lack of mechanism for the development and financing of inclusive education. The insufficient material and technical and staffing of secondary school. So this disadvantages is the lack of educational materials, equipments, and trained specialists that would work on this student with disabilities. Next is the inadequacy of buildings of secondary schools for unimpeded access to them by students with different pathologies of the disease. This is the lack of buildings, facilities, and medical equipment that will help them deal with classification of the classification of diseases, students' diseases. The last one is the insufficient psychological readiness of students and teachers to study together with people with disabilities. The continuation of this report will be reported by Ms. Annalyn Atadero.